Welcome back to the Menopause Movement podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Gordon. If you're watching the replay or on YouTube, thanks so much for being a part of the Menopause Movement. Today, we welcome Ann Martin to the podcast. Ann is a MENO-mate. She's a mom to four. She's a dance and fitness instructor. She's a spiritualist and medium with a burning desire to learn, and she's striving toward a better world. During the podcast, we discussed what her life was like before she became a MENO-mate, what her life is like now, what helped her to make the decision to invest in herself and join up as a MENO-mate, how the MENO-mate community changed her life. Now, at the end of the episode, make sure you visit drmichellegordon.com/podcasts, where you can find the show notes plus the links to the books and resources mentioned in the episode. And if you enjoy the episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you're always the first to know when each episode is released. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And thank you for all of the 5-star reviews. If you haven't left a review yet, please take the time to review the podcast. This helps more women find it and get the help they need during the disruption of menopause. No one should have to go it alone. And thanks so much for being a part of the menopause movement. Now let's get to Ann. There you are. Hey, welcome.
Hey.
All right, cool. So Ann, welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
So why don't you just tell us a little about yourself, where you live and, what you do and all those things.
Okay, I am 45 next month. I live in central Scotland in the UK. I teach dance and fitness for a living when we're allowed to, when we're not in lockdown. I have 4 children aging between 11 and 26. So yeah, there's all
11
going
and
on.
26, that's a lot of children.
Oh,
And
yes.
that's a big wide range of, yeah.
We were quite sensible, actually. We waited until the older 2 were old enough to babysit the younger 2 before we started having any more.
I'm sure. Did they love that? That's awesome.
Loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, right. So here's a question for you, right?
Okay.
You came in, Abby has to leave. That's life. You're right, Abby. It's okay. So you came in through the last beta we did in May, right?
I did.
Yeah. And so when you joined the beta, what was your expectation?
When I joined the beta, I had no expectation. I needed a lifeline, and I was hoping for a lifeline. There was no preconceived notions.
Okay. All right. Well, what brought you in? How did you come in?
It was a Facebook advert. The crazy
Facebook
picture
ad.
one. Yeah.
That funky picture?
The funky picture.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
So, all right. During the beta, what happened for you?
I'll just set the scene. So when I came into the beta, I had been suffering for 5, 6, maybe up to 7 years with physical symptoms, the hot flushes, the weight gain, absolutely any symptom that the ladies have mentioned, I had, but it could have been explained away by different conditions. I have fibro, I have high blood pressure, I have underactive thyroid. So the doctor had been treating those symptoms, and the dots had never been joined by either the medical profession or myself to link it to perimenopause, even though my mum and my grandma had both suffered early, like premature ovarian failure. They'd both gone through that and hysterectomies before they were 40. And it was an insidious process.
Yeah.
Chipping away at the already low self-esteem. I'll not make any bones about it. I've always suffered self-esteem issues.
Okay.
And menopause just amplified it immensely and immeasurably. And I was in a very, very dark, bleak, bad place.
Okay.
Very bleak.
What does that mean? Dark and bleak.
I felt I had no worth. I had nothing to give. I had no hope. I had no purpose. I was doing my work. I was mumming. I was wifing as normal. But for me, myself, my person, I had no purpose. I had no place. I wasn't good at anything. And I just felt like a grey invisible ghost going around blowing things up. Just self-destruct, auto-destruct. Anything I touched, it felt like the Midas touch in reverse. Everything I touched just turned to shit.
Can you give us an example of something that you touched that turned to shit?
My amazing, wonderful, devoted, adoring husband and I have always had an exceptionally amazing relationship. It was fantastic. And last year, we came very much to the point where we were almost separated. I almost blew that whole thing up. The libido was a last straw because that couldn't be explained. That was a symptom that couldn't be explained by any other condition. Lack of libido deteriorated so gradually, I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
But obviously men and women are kind of different in that respect. And he thought I was seeing somebody else. He thought that I didn't love him. He thought that I wasn't interested. He thought there was no place for him in my life. And he hurt. He really hurt. And the fact that I watched my mum do this to my dad didn't even trigger. It didn't register because I couldn't see it.
Yeah. And what happened to your parents?
And I went down. They divorced acrimoniously and still don't speak. They divorced when I was 20.
Okay. All right.
And still don't speak.
So suffice it to say that you were in, a pretty bad place. And you came into the beta, hoping maybe for some answers, right? Or just no expectation?
I was no expectation. I was desperate for help.
Yeah.
I was desperate for help. The only way that I had forward at that time involved a whole lot of pills and a whole lot of vodka.
A whole lot of pills and a whole lot of
vodka.
Okay. So
3 times.
Three times what?
I
3 times you took pills and vodka trying to end your life?
Yeah.
Okay. So you were in a pretty low place. And, I've never attempted that, but I did have an experience as a teenager. And I had an experience about a year ago when I thought my business was failing. And I thought that like all my financial problems were going to be better if I just, offed myself. And then I said, well, that's dumb. That was just how it was for me,
Yeah.
and I was able to coach myself out of it, but not everyone can do that.
We had a lot going on. We had financial problems, huge financial problems as well. And financial problems themselves put a strain on a relationship that's already suffering. And we were literally held together with duct tape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at the point where I knew I wasn't able to give him what he was needing in our relationship, and I wanted him to accept a divorce and move on and find happiness because he would be better off without me. To be honest, that was the only way ahead. And if I hadn't found a beta just by chance and found a way forward for me, with the menopause movement, the MENO system, and you guys, is that was a life raft.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've not just changed my life, guys. You've saved my life.
So I want to ask
the bottom line.
Isn't that the way it is though? It's kind of insidious that when we let those thoughts take control of us and we think that it's better, the world is better without us.
Yeah.
And then
as I was concerned, I caused pain and the world was better off without me causing everybody else's pain.
Right. And do you feel that way now?
No.
All right. So
definitely no.
So before deciding to enroll in the program, when we said that we had to close the group and that you were going to lose your access, what was your biggest skepticism before you signed up?
To be honest, I knew I needed it. I'd come so far in such a small period of time during the beta, especially lesson 3. Holy moly, just holy crap. And I still can't look at those notebooks because that's not me anymore, you know, that's so loaded and triggering for me. But I knew I needed it. Now, working as a dance and fitness teacher during COVID, not able to teach lessons, already in a financial shit place, you can imagine I knew I did not have the money physically there to sign up, even though I wanted to, I desperately wanted to, because I knew in my gut. And when you said that the beta was closing, it literally sucker punched me. I literally got a punch in the gut because I knew that I would be losing the one thing that was keeping me tethered, the one thing that was keeping me from heading right back down that road.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So you said you needed it, you knew you needed it, but you just couldn't afford it, right?
We couldn't afford it. And I mean, amazing people, and she knows exactly who I'm talking about, offered to financially help me, but pride going on, I couldn't accept it. I couldn't accept it because I knew I had no way to pay that back ever. So my wonderful, wonderful man said he noticed such a difference in me, even during the few weeks. I don't ask him for permission to spend, but we both bring money in, so we share the decision. You know, it's how it is. I give him his place. We both deal with the bills. And I knew that I couldn't afford it. So I gave up paying for my tutoring in my tap dance teacher's qualification, which it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do for myself. And I've been a dancer since I was 3. So this was a big thing, and opportunities have come and then just gone before I could do it, you know, and I finally got the opportunity to do it. COVID hit, we were still doing it online, but that was, you know, that was tantamount to, it was actually bang on equal the amount of money I needed to pay for what we have going on here at that time. And Simon and I, I think it was the day before CART closed, I was there was tears and snot everywhere. I was literally a quivering wreck. And we stood in the kitchen at 8:30 in the morning. And I was like, look.
Oh, you're ugly crying.
Yeah. I'm like, oh. And he just, you know, I'd filled in the form and the application and so on. And I went, I need this. He says, I have been telling you that you need this. And he was washing the dishes at the time, and he just picked up the dish towel and dried his hands, and he reached over and he pressed that button for me, you know. So it's him that brought me in. It was a joint decision. I knew I needed it. And I've never looked back.
So everyone's saying, you know, they're having tears, and they love the fact that you said you had tears and snot everywhere.
It was true. It was true. Still happening.
And there's a lot of love in the comments for you. So the next question I want to ask you is, so after you enrolled in the program, how did your life change?
Okay, so being in the industry that I'm working in, pretty savvy where it comes to exercise. I've been on every diet under the sun.
Sure.
I've always struggled with my weight. Go to Weight Watchers, put weight on. Go to Slimming World, put weight on. Anything. It's never worked. I'm sitting now, I've lost 23 pounds since May.
How much?
23 pounds.
23 pounds since you did the beta in May. And so we started the beta in the second week of April, and we opened CART on May 12th. We closed CART, I think, on May 15th or something, right? So it was really, it wasn't a long open CART. Yeah. And so since the beta in April, 23 pounds.
23 pounds.
But this isn't a weight loss program.
No, that is a happy side effect. That is a happy side effect. The education that I got confirms a lot of what I already believed, but you have to just put that, everything you think you know, you have to just put aside, because like Amanda said yesterday, if I'm coming in, and I'm a typical Scottish person here because I'm really frugal and I'm a really tight-fisted. So if I'm paying for a bloody program I'm going to make the use out of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 100%. And that's what I did. The eating, every lesson was watched and then rewatched. The movement, watched, rewatched, better rewatched. And then, whoa, yeah.
And then we got to the part about how to think, right? The MENO-mate way of thinking. Yeah.
And that's when jigsaw pieces started to come in. Jigsaw pieces starting to come in.
The jigsaw pieces started to come together.
Definitely. Yeah. And I've never lost weight because my head wasn't ready.
Okay.
My head wasn't ready. And finding what I have with yourself, with the program, with the MENO-mates, and I mean, they're friends for life. It's just me and Shelley and I, we talk every day, whether it's video chat or messaging, or we talk every single day. And having that, I've never got on with women because women can be mean and really not very nice sometimes.
Yeah. Let's just talk about that for 1 second, right? We talked about, we did kind of, I remember one of the sessions that we did kind of hit on that women, our experience with women in our lives, can be really impacted by the way we have interacted with girls growing up. Yeah. With the cliques, the cliques of girls or cliques of girls that were in our elementary, junior high school, college, even, or even in life, PTA or, with our kids. And because of the way the media is, we tend to, judge, and we tend to, judge each other and think that we're being judged. And so, that was the intention of creating this program, was to find a safe space to talk about the menopause, but also to talk about life.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, the community that I've got here with my friends for life and with my gals, we're so much more than menopause.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it starts off with menopause, but we move on to life, right? So you did talk a little bit about your weight, but can you give us another specific example of a breakthrough or an aha that you've had since joining the program?
Since joining the program, so I didn't realize I was negatively talking to myself. So that was my biggest breakthrough. I didn't realize that I was doing that, and I was keeping myself shackled that way in my mind at all. And I'm now positive about my body. I am confident. Simon and I have gone from the verge of divorce to second honeymoon. TMI for many people, probably, but hey.
Simon was so kind. I mean, he even recorded a video for us.
He's champing at the bit. He's sitting in the living room going, "I'll be here if you need me."
Yeah. And so Simon, and the video is not that good, but it's probably because you're in Scotland and I'm in New York. But yeah, so when you go to bit.ly/MENO-mate, and I'll put that in the chat. When you go there, that's when you can, let's see, go to https://MENO-mate, and you can see there, he's got a little video there. And that's the first time we ever put a man on our page there, for people to check it out. And so if you're on the fence because you're not sure if your spouse is interested in that, then take your spouse to that page and have them watch that, because it's like a minute, but it's pretty powerful what he has to say.
Yeah. It's how my physical symptoms are next to non-existent now, and the libido's come back with a vengeance, shall we say? And the poor boy needs a break for a rest, to be honest. But we are just, well, he presented me today with an eternity ring, because we are now, coming up in October, we'll be 10 years married. So yeah, there's reaffirmed absolutely everything I already knew about him. He has been with me every step of the way. He's shared and watching the videos with me. We've talked about them. We listen to the podcast together. He is like Dr. G's biggest man fan.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to meet him. I want to go to the Art Big Factory with you guys. That's my goal. When quarantine is over and COVID is over, I'm coming to Scotland and we're going to go drink scotch.
I road mapped it. It's 5 hours away.
Awesome.
5 hours. That's not
cool.
far.
That's cool. That'll be fun.
Yes.
So, all right. So in addition to like the symptoms not bothering you anymore and really not having them, you got your libido back, which is another bonus. We do have the bonus sexuality and menopause, which I think is helpful. But, getting your head right is probably the thing that made the biggest difference for you.
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. I'm now, I've worn a full face of makeup since I was 12.
Okay.
I've always hidden behind makeup, always worn it. And I remember the conversation and, we had in coaching, and I said, I had a win. I put a Facebook profile picture up with no makeup on, and Amanda was absolutely shocked at me. She went, "What? Really?"
Good job.
I went, "Yeah." And for me, that was huge. For having worn a full, saves me a fortune as well,
Yeah.
And makeup.
I don't wear makeup anymore. I think it's. I wear makeup sometimes, but it's really rare. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. In fact, I probably could tell you the last time I put face makeup on. I'll maybe put mascara on, but that's it. Was April. April was the last time I wore makeup. And
the comments today were that you were glowing, that you're glowing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's changed your life quite a bit. And like you said, it saved your life. So the next question I have for you then is for somebody who's on the fence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about enrolling in the program. What would you say to them?
I would say what was said to me, that if you aren't worth it, who is? Who is worthy? Who is more worthy of your investment in yourself than you? There's nobody there more worthy than you. You deserve every chance at happiness. You deserve every chance to get back to who you really are. And you deserve every chance to move forward with joy in your heart.
Yeah.
You just deserve it. It's worth the leap of faith. And I made financial sacrifices, but I had a leap of faith and it's paid dividends. Money is either there or it's not. But when it comes down to it, I'm here and I might not have been. So
we're glad you are.
That's all I can say, guys. You're worth it.
You've not only, saved your life, but you've saved, I would say that you've really impacted the lives of all of us in such a positive way, and I think we feel so blessed to have you in the group and be a contributor every single week. And that's so, and we're very, very grateful that you're with us and that you were able to make that sacrifice and join up. I think that's great. So the very last question I have for you is, was there anything else that you were hoping to share?
I think it does depend on your background and your beliefs. Now, I am a spiritualist. I've been baptized a spiritualist, and I firmly believe in the divine and the universal power. And I've worked with Reiki. Is it light worker or energy worker? You guys call it, yeah? Yeah. And I trained when I was 15, so that's like hundreds of years ago, back in the black and white days, Yeah. I have now managed to come back to that path. It's brought me back to the path that I was meant to be on, and material things happened, and you veer away because life does happen. Like Abby said, life does happen. And I came away from it for a while. And now that the kids are getting older and there's less responsibilities, active responsibilities needed there, changing nappies and things. We don't need to do that anymore. So I'm now having time to actually rediscover who I am, and the podcast Awakening to Purpose just came out at the right time for me. And I listened to it and I was like, Okay, synchronicity, sign, thank you. And I'm now able to have faith and have hope and have joy and return to my own spiritual practices, return to the joy that brings and the help that it brings to other people.
So it sounds to me like you returned to you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I just needed somebody to help me unlock the door so I could decide to take that leap and go through it.
Yeah. And when you do the program, I mean, how much time does it actually take you to go through it?
To be honest, I did really worry about that as well because I am busy. I teach classes at all silly times of the day and night because that's what you have to do in my profession. I could take on a lesson and I could lie and soak in the tub. Take some time out and lie in the bath and zone in on that lesson. I could, when I'm out running, when I'm out walking, you can fit it in anywhere. There is no deadline, guys. You don't sit with a notebook and pencil, having an invigilator stand over you like this. You do those lessons when you are ready. You don't have to have them done by 9:30 a.m. on a Friday morning. No.
That's exactly right. It's not the same as school. You know, we train our children to go to school and to follow bells, and that was to train them into becoming factory workers. And so COVID has made it so that education is now based around the learner. And, you know, the way the program, we do drip out lessons per week, but that's mostly to kind of keep you from being overwhelmed more than anything else. Because, you know, some courses will just like open everything up. But I found that what works best for this group is to do one type of lesson a week, and then, you know, and not have you like go through it all at once, because because unlike most online programs, we do meet at least once a week to kind of go over.
And that's the highlight of my week. It really is.
Meeting with the MENO-mates.
Yeah.
Now, if you have questions about the topics covered in this or any other podcast, I invite you to open a conversation with me via email at info@menopausemovement.com or on Facebook Messenger through my Facebook page at Dr. Michelle Gordon. That's DrMichellellegordon. I also want to invite you to join in our next beta group. Here at the Menopause Movement, we are always trying out new methods of teaching and the best ways to get on top of your menopause symptoms. We regularly run beta test groups where we create a learning experience valued at $2,000, but at no cost to you, in exchange for feedback and testimonials. To get notified of our next beta group, simply sign up at beta.menopausemovement.com. And thanks so much for being a part of the Menopause Movement. I appreciate you.